Hi, I'm Mario Evon, and you're listening to Talk Truth, a weekly edutainment podcast discussing the things that most people are afraid to, but from a Jamaican perspective. From relationships, sex and sexuality, to the ins and outs of entrepreneurship, in this space we speak about almost anything with the intention to inspire, educate, entertain, and create a fair and balanced space where your truth shall become your power and set you free. Yo, my people, you're listening to episode number 15 of Talk Truth, and this is your boy Maria Evon. And you know, when I tarot, I get straight into it. I'm gonna read the truth bombs at the end of the episode, and those will be the responses you gave to the Instagram story on whether you've had sex in a public place, and if so, where. But you're going to have to stay till the end to hear that. But right now we're going to go into episode number 15. Alright, welcome to our next episode of Talk Truth. And guess what? I've brought back one of your favorite guests, and that is none other than Wendel Guthrie. But today we're not talking about medicine. Given that it was just our Emancipendence season, we are going to talk about old-time Jamaica. And he was born before independence. So he's going to give us a little perspective on life before independence, what happened at independence, and how we've evolved. Welcome back to the show.
Yes, good to be here with you.
Yeah, man. Well, you don't mind talking about the age, right? Not at this age, right?
Not at this age. You only get the more you talk about it.
All right. So I'll tell them your age.
You're glad to be here.
Exactly, right? You were born in 1942.
Yes.
And we became independent in what year?
1962.
1962. So yeah, 10 years.
20.
So right, that would be 20 times.
I was 19 plus nearly 20.
All right. So tell me a little bit about Jamaica pre-independence and your childhood and kind of what it felt like growing up.
So much things to say. I mean, there are two sides of pre-independence for me. Growing up in rural Jamaica and then coming to the urban area. In rural Jamaica, primary school, from primary school to the regular village life, meaning no amenities like electricity, water. No, you have to carry your water yourself.
Right.
You bathe in a little tub, and if you want warm water, you heat it in the sun in the afternoon.
You heat it in the sun. You never had a kettle.
You could put kettle, but you'd have to put it on
a cold stove.
Not cold. You make wood fire with 3 stones and put a pot on it. But it would be easier to have. It wasn't plastic. You used to have a big tin tub and you put it out with water in the day, and it got warm. And you get your warm water to bathe. But you don't waste a lot of water. You take about a basin full and soap up your rag, soap all over, and you just splash off, and that's it.
But it's not like now where people want to have piping hot water, so hot water would be warm.
Yes, but it would be warm, because even when you have piping hot water now, you usually dilute it so much that it become warm. So you really waste a lot of time boiling it.
I see what you're saying.
Because you cannot use it hot. Right?
Right, because it's too hot anyway.
It's too hot and it will damage you.
Just to give a little more context, where exactly in rural Jamaica where you from? Are you from?
A little district in Westmoreland called Moreland Hill, which is about on a tangent of from 10 miles from Savlamar, 12 miles from Negril. We're in the western part of Jamaica, right. Sugarcane belt.
And again, to create more context, pre-independence, we were colonized by the British, right?
Oh, yes.
So what type of currency were we using?
Pounds, shilling, and pence. And in brief, you had all sorts of small units like 3pence, 6pence, shilling. And then the pound was a bigger unit, like what the dollar is. It wasn't until 7 years after independence, in 1969, that we got our Jamaican dollar, which at that time we needed $2 to make 1 pound.
So we were $2 Jamaican dollars?
Yes.
To make 1 pound. So we had
a
pretty strong currency coming into independence.
Yes, now it's about 170.
Wow, so that's one of the big changes. So Chopins, how you spell that now?
3 pence it is.
3 pence, but we patwa
Exactly.
eyes it, and it become well. That's why a lot of the slang I would have grown into a Jamaican currency. So that was some of the stuff that I would have heard, and
Yes.
I wonder what, but it's really
And
3 pence.
And you have small amount like quarter of a penny, which is a farthing, and then you have 6 pence. Well, that is 6 pennies. You have threepence, which is 3, and those are sort of some of the units. So things are so cheap that you could get things to buy for farthing or 3 pence, and those are the small units.
So what was it like in terms of society? So did you have the effects of a kind of, British rule? So people had accents still? You had people with British accents, or people always had their Jamaican accents? What it felt like?
People had their Jamaican accent, but there are many persons, especially teachers and all, that tried to emulate the British and try to have British accent.
Right.
And in the government we had what we call a chief minister rather than a prime minister, which we have now, right?
But the chief minister would report to who?
And the chief minister, just like the same, is report to the governor general.
Right.
And so we had British governors general back then, the last one being Kenneth Blackburn when we got independence, before we start having our own native governor general. And we had rather than MP, we used to have what we call MHR, Member of the House of Representatives.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the persons, when we go into school, we had to know all of them by heart, and in a subject called civics.
Right. So civics was a thing that
Civics was compulsory.
that we never had in my time.
No, at school, and we knew all that sort of stuff, just recite it off, minister of this and minister of that, and you call the names, and at school you're called upon to know these things.
And what about things like fashion? I mean, we had our own sense of fashion, and we were still quite British in terms of how we dressed.
To a certain extent, I remember seeing people leaving to go away to take boats, and they wore suits and gloves.
Well, we still dressing up to go airport. Less so now, but that thing that has spilled out.
Yes, so, that sort of stuff.
Suits and gloves and even hats?
And hats, yes. And ladies had hats and bags a lot of time. And they got to the stage where you had crinoline, which was those big broad skirts, right?
Right.
And then that it revolutionized, and then the young people got into things like miniskirts and so on.
Right, and started to get a little more hip. But was that pre-independence or that was post-independence?
Maybe about pre-independence coming into early independence.
But in terms of accessibility of stuff, I mean, even when I was growing up, I recall waiting like maybe 2 weeks to 4 weeks to see a feature film on TV, and new songs would come out in formats that weren't as immediate as digital. What was access to international entertainment and things like in that era?
In my time, most of the international entertainment used to hear a lot of stuff on radio. As a matter of fact, radio out of Miami, and if you had radio.
Right, because it was primarily radio at that time. Right?
And chiefly a lot of rock and roll, and with groups like Chubby Check and Drifters, and going further back, Coasters and people like those Shirelles.
What era was Elvis?
And Elvis actually, today, is 42 years since Elvis died, and Elvis died 42 years ago. So he would have been 84 now, alive. So it was pre-independence and post-independence, and so as you say, then we start to emulate rock and roll a lot. So if you notice our early singers, a lot of our singers, the Prince Busters and all of these guys, and the groups, Techniques, and these groups that tried to sing like the American
outside of the R&B influence, there was some kind of straight rock influence too.
Rock influence, but we had a lot of local calypsonians too, who their main thing was like social commentary and what is happening in the day, right? And so even growing up in the country, I remember one calypso about women trying to get money to get the England fair. Right? And that was related to just after the Windrush generation. And that was sort of calypso that you couldn't sing. Well, my father would be really draping you up because some of the things that women had, well, it was alleged that they did to get in the England fair.
Right, were inappropriate.
Was inappropriate for like a Christian fellow like me.
But that was nothing compared to what we're hearing on the radio now, right?
Oh, no, but it has always been there. It's just that, as I said, maybe a little more subtle, but there was always suggestive lyrics from way back.
But given that reggae kind of was more in the 1960s coming up, in the 1940s and 50s, were you really just hearing a lot of international music? What was playing? And the Calypsonians, what else was playing locally?
I wouldn't be able to tell you much about the 40s.
Because you were young.
But 50s going to primary school, Calypso and people like Fats Domino and that sort of stuff. Those were the thing that that's the sort of music I heard.
That's kind of interesting, yeah.
And all sort of local calypso, and the guys, they were all lords, and Lord Flea and Lord this until you had Lord Crate and all of those.
And these were Jamaican artists?
Yeah, Jamaican artists, but some came out of Trinidad, A few of our early calypsonians, they came from Trinidad, but we had a good set too. Chiefly mental music, but it was always social commentary,
right? What would you say you would do for entertainment as a child in the country, kind of growing up? How you would keep yourself entertained?
Well, you play gig and marble and a lot of stuff that you make, and if you were lucky as you get a little older, you could go to dance. But before dance, the main thing was what you had, they call garden party, where you go to the big play field and have a day of donkey ride and all the stuff.
So like down in Delvland now, like a garden party would happen out on the big field,
open
out
field. On the big open field, and you pay, and people dress up donkey and you pay for a ride. And
so you would pay per ride, or it was all inclusive?
Oh, and you don't pay to go in, but you can pay a penny or whatever it was.
And do whatever you want to do.
And then they carry you around on this maybe blindfolded pretty donkey. Donkey dressed up.
Donkey, right? Donkey is adorned with some colorful things.
Yes, including parts of plants like pancetta.
Right. I've seen this before.
And those are some of the things. But other than that, sports, in that, like me, play cricket for primary school. What was a track and field was like a game named Chevy Chase. You go out and run down one another, and as like how they run in baseball. So if you catch you before you reach home, you are out.
Right.
You are supposed to get back to the base.
And what would you say your rule structure was like in your household? What were you allowed to do? Like you could go out later and come back home, or you would have to be back in by a certain time? What was the kind of structure for you?
Me specifically, go church morning, noon and night.
Every single day?
Every day. And what made it worse, but we were Anglicans when I was little. And then both my mother, father, myself, three of us, we used to go to Anglican church. And my mother became Seventh-day Adventist, but my father didn't. And so I had to go to church Saturday and Sunday until my father got pulled into Seventh-day Adventist by my mother.
Right.
And so now it maybe got even worse, because a Friday night straight till Sunday, lockdown, church and church activities, no cooking, and Saturday and all that sort of thing. So for me, there was not much
so you
entertainment.
never get a little break between, so Sabbath and at sunset. So what happened between six?
We do,
had like a little break?
We do things at church, have concerts.
Oh, right, so after, you have concert in the evening after Sabbath in.
Even people stuff.
So your life was consumed by church?
Yes, by religion. It is hard. Sometimes you get a overdose of religion when you're young. Like me, you read through the Bible about 2 times, and now you can't tell me anything that I don't know. So I'm not very impressed with guys preaching all kind of things.
Because you've read it and you've seen it.
Because I've heard it many times before.
In many different forms. I remember when we had traveled to, I believe it was Grenada, and Grenada was one of those islands that still had places closed
Close
on a
on
Sunday.
yes.
Jamaica would have been like that back in that
Oh,
time.
yes.
So you wouldn't have
Jamaica
supermarkets open on Sunday.
Well, we didn't have supermarkets, but we had
Yeah,
shops.
shop, right?
And shops and bars were closed most of the time on Sunday until there came a time when they would open in the afternoon.
Right.
Mm.
You feel like that was kind of like an Americanization, or even maybe...
No, that was British.
It was
Because
British.
even now when you're in England, even when I went to England, especially when you go outside of London, the pubs close on Sundays till way up in the afternoon. The bars also, they're off license, which, those are the places in England that sell liquor and other things. And so they don't open till late. And now I think they start doing it at a different level, but it was really coming straight from the British.
And the reason we have so many bars in districts comes from kind of that pub life. You think it was directly related?
Oh yes, same thing. I mean, when you go to the UK, well, you have been to UK, but I remember when I got to UK, the pub, what happened in the pub, same thing that happened in our bar. As a matter of fact, they do more pub life than we do. We tend to drink in the bar. They play pool, they do darts, they play bingo, everything at my pub, and gamble with it too, because everybody not playing for nothing, they bet.
All right, I want you to give me paint a picture of infrastructure for me, and then we can move to independence. But you're in rural Jamaica, so what were the roads like? What were the houses like?
They're not much better now, but they're getting better.
The roads, that is.
But starting with Westmoreland. Westmoreland is a parish that has a lot of small wooden houses, and they were nice and clean, and still have a lot of small too.
And sometimes they're on concrete blocks,
and they're on stones, they're on blocks, and look still. And people are comfortable. It is not uncommon even now to go to Westmoreland, and people are moving.
The entire house. I remember we saw that once. I've only seen it maybe twice in my life in Jamaica.
Exactly.
Moving it on a truck or on a vehicle.
Yes, so you lease a lot. And rather than get a new house, you move your house and put on the lot.
That's a real moving house.
You're in the lot, and that is a real moving house.
But that means that the floor of the house, the base of the house would have to be solid right across to move it, right?
Yes,
or you just
is.
move the structure itself?
No, it is. You move the whole house. The house have a nice wooden floor that is dyed and shined very smooth. You could look in it and like a mirror sometimes, so it's clean.
So that means the structure of the underneath would have to have crossboards to support the whole thing.
Good firm cross beams and so on. And it is in order to get it up on top of a cart. Now they do it on a low bar, so it's easier. But what you usually do is have lumber and roll the house on top of the lumber, so the lumber rolling act like as wheel. And you get guys, usually church brothers and people of your own group, people work together, cut cane and all that. They come together, you buy some rum, cook some good, and they don't work, they don't collect any money. You get a whole group of guys, and then they sing digging songs and push up the house.
And your payment is your alcohol and your food.
Exactly. Them just have a nice time, and they do that in order to do things. But you're asking, the infrastructure was always bad. Paved road was uncommon. Now you see paved road, right? So that was always
and you say
bad.
no water,
we had no running water.
So you had rainwater and collection.
You collect water by in your drum, or you go off your roof.
And electricity.
And because you use so little water, it served for quite a while, because let's face it, you use 2 or 3 gallons a day to cook and a little bit to bathe, if you bathe. Right?
And you wouldn't boil water to cook, you just use the water, and the cooking process would heat the water, or you would boil it?
Yes, you don't know when you're cooking, you use the water without, but, well, my mother, I mean, she was one of them people who was up on hygiene and all. She used to say we need to boil the water to drink.
Right.
But when you're boiling it to cook, that will take care of that.
Right. Interesting stuff. So, all right. So, fast forward to independence now. What was the energy like pre-independence? So, you're having the discussions that we're going to become independent. What is the social response? What is the cultural response?
First thing, there was a great anticipation, and in order for us, the Manley who was in power, Father Manley, Norman Manley,
right, Father
no
Manley.
nationally era, he decided to have a referendum whether there should be independence or not, like the Brexit, stay or leave.
Right.
And so he called the independence, and they called the referendum, and the Bustamante, he was on the other side, and he was a winner. And so the persons decided, well, that was not exactly true. It was more whether we should go for federation with Eastern Caribbean Islands, and Boston won. So when we were supposed to become independent, Jamaica would be independent and going it alone rather than get into federation.
What was the thinking though? Why not just stay colonized? What was the thinking of the benefit of independence?
Well, whether you want it or not, Britain was getting rid of all the hangers on. So if you look at all of the islands and even African countries like Ghana, Nigeria, Tanzania, most of these countries and even Singapore, we got independence like within 5-6 years apart.
Because they were scaling down.
Because Britain was trying to get rid of as many of the dependents as possible. The truth be told, we were becoming more burdened than
helpful.
Because
Right.
we were at first a source of cheap labor and also a source of raw material. And raw material was getting scarce here about when sugar was king. And subsequently, all of this happened that everybody started get their independence. And so if you notice, Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados,
Right,
all
have
had
some
independence
close ones.
the same year.
So in a little way, it's like you almost were forced to become independent. Or it would have happened anyway.
It would have happened
But I'm
anyway,
sure there
yes.
was some kind of national pride in terms of
Oh,
us
yes.
running our own country.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the things in that we control our own destiny. At least so they say.
Even though we still have a governor general, but that's interesting. But I guess some things would remain and not be totally eradicated.
Yes.
All right, so we become independent. I mean, what is that transition like? Does it happen immediately?
I was about to tell you, I was at a tertiary institution at School of Agriculture, and in 1963, big celebration, everything, and so we became independent. Shortly before that, the stadium was built. It was used as the place where the big celebrations took place, a lot of marching on the street. It's like how we have Grand Gala now. But, filled with expectation, we're going forward. So that was what it was like. And, of course, if you go back, we had all sort of song about independence, including calypsos and
these were just coming out of the era. It wasn't formalized like a JCDC festival competition.
No, man,
kind of
guys just come together and compose.
making music.
And make music and compose.
Mm-hmm.
It was later on like you start have the festival celebration and the festival song.
Right, which would have developed down the line.
Well, maybe a year after you start celebrate the first, second, third anniversary until you get to 57th.
So the currency initially would have been strong. So what was it looking? What kind of bills? What kind of notes we had in the initial phase?
We still had pounds all the way up to
So
7 years after.
Okay.
And then when we changed, it took 2 Jamaican dollars. That's where we started using dollar to make a pound.
Right.
Right. And even the first one looked exactly like the pound, the first paper monies. And we had a whole lot of little notes, 50 cents and all that, until I gradually phase them out. Because paper money get damaged and twisted up after that.
I would gather that soon after an independence, the stability of the country would be similar to pre-independence. So in the initial part of the transition.
Yes. It didn't change at first, right? I mean, some countries manage to stay stable, and people like talking about Singapore, but Singapore is basically one party since independence. I mean, Jamaica, you have
right, we'll go back
struggle
and forth.
between back and forth. As a matter of fact, maybe it is our downfall.
Right, the ping pong, well, not the ping pong, but
that is my opinion. A lot of people might think otherwise, but there are a lot of people like use the word democracy to rationalize their way about certain things.
But the truth is really that I guess the parties have never really approached it by trying to continue a lot of the things. They've always wanted to bring something new to the table each time. And I think with that, you can get a little bit of up and down, I guess.
There's a thing that came up in the 70s and still around. 1 step forward and 2 step backward. And then the next time maybe it's 2 step forward and 3 step backward. Same proportion.
I even heard a conversation on TV this week about one party wants prosperity and the other party wants fairness, and the TV host said, so why we can't have prosperity and fairness? And then the response was pretty much that, well, we aim to have an equal balance, but one is striving for more prosperity now and they want more fairness. So I guess with difference of views, you're going to always have things changing drastically with each change of party leadership.
Yes, but as you were saying though, so immediately after independence, when I came to Kingston to start work in 1964, the whole landscape was different. So where people looking at downtown and said, downtown coming back. Downtown used to be vibrant. There used to be cruise ship coming in downtown. There used to be Myrtle Bank Hotel next door.
You had horse and cart, or it was?
You had 1 or 2, but not as a mode of transportation.
Yeah, that tram.
The main public, the tram was before that.
Oh, that was before.
Yes, but the main public transport was a Joyce in Kingston, which is Jamaica omnibus service. And then, and King Street was the life, like a lot of places you go now, even down the Eastern Caribbean, whether it be Frederick Street or it is down in Phillipsburg or one of those places. The main street is where you have a lot of life.
A lot of activity.
So activity. So even Victoria Pier was where you used to have Baron Lee playing like every Saturday evening. And we had a lot of live music.
Yeah.
So you have the Glass Bucket Club in Half Tree, you have the Sombrero in Mullines Road.
Red Hills Road had a bunch of clubs.
Yeah, Red Hills Road had a lot of clubs that came off, but not so much
not
live music.
Tit for Tat was around that era after.
And stables. But out east now you have like the Adastra, and then you have all sort of band. You have other than Baron Lee, Linted, and the Jets, you have a few of them. Because live music was really popular, Scatterlights and all that.
And a lot of, I guess reggae was going on, I was rubbing Rocksteady.
Yes, the Rocksteady or ska Rocksteady reggae.
Right.
They gradually morph one into the other. And the next thing was movies. And we had movie theatre just about everywhere. So out east you have Kings, you had Queens, and East Green Street you had Gaiety, you have Palace.
Was State there?
Downtown. State was in Crossroad, Carib, Regal, in Vineyard Town.
And that was, and it wasn't Carib 5, it was Carib. And it had an upstairs and a downstairs.
Yes. And they had the Globe in Vineyard Town, Tropical, down on Slipe Road, and out west you had near to Tivoli. You had Queens, and you had Majestic, and you go up, and you have in Trenchtown, you had Ambassador. So you had up movie theatre everywhere. Then came the drive-ins, which Harborview Drive-In, the Boulevard Drive-In. More and more people who could afford car got to drive in, because you don't come out the car.
Right.
You sit down in a car and watch a movie.
Well, I like to say to people now that Kingston is really exciting, because I feel like there's so many entertainment options. I mean, between dancehall, which you have a dance every night, you have a carnival season, you have reggae sumfest, you have almost like a period in many parts of the year where something is going on. It sounded like it was a lot like that back then.
Yes, it was always but a different form.
Form.
In that you had a lot of dance, and what I told you, we have a whole heap of live music of the clubs that I told you about, So whether there were Sombrero, Glass Bucket, Adastra, whatever, there you had bands playing, and people used to go, a lot of people used to go.
And dance.
There was much less violence.
Right, I was going to ask you that next.
So people take bus till all sort of night and walk,
Right. What was the violence like?
Compared to now, small.
And what kind of stuff, what kind of offences you would have?
There was always something happening, but people like not so much gun violence. You have fight and stab, and man beat up man because I dance to them girl and
Right.
all them sort of stuff, And
Which still happens.
Which maybe still happen,
Yeah.
And so that is a whole set when you talk about the entertainment scene. So Kingston has always, as compared to country where I'm coming from, Kingston has always been the hotbed. And so when you look back all the times with the Bob Marley coming on the scene and the Jimmy Cliff, Prince Buster, Derek Morgan go all back, these were people releasing records, but you had the bands playing live music regularly too. And so these same persons, especially even on a Sunday evening, you go to Carib, they have what we call triple feature. So you have a Western movie, you have a half-hour, three-quarter-hour band music on stage,
Right.
where you have your Delroy Wilson and all of these people come on and Don Drummond blowing past his time because he's high. And and so you had all of this sort of stuff.
They should go back to that. That would be nice.
Yes,
So you had a
and
Western movie, the live music, followed by another movie.
Then maybe you have you have double bill and or triple bill. So you have movie, so it's a Western. They have
So you just pay one money and you get
money,
everything.
They get a half-hour, three-quarter-hour concert rather than a long intermission.
Right.
They get a love movie and then later on maybe a karate.
Right.
And so
you could leave when you want to leave, or you could stay.
Yeah, you got the movie from maybe about 3 and you don't leave till nearly midnight. You had a whole dose. And even when premiere came about, as the first theatre uptown that had padded seat,
Right.
and they had 10 a.m. matinee, and when you got there, you got tea until people start to stick chewing gum and all sort of thing on the seat. And,
Right. That is when we start to
and
get slack.
it was not sustainable,
Right. So you would say that the independence did it affect living others? This for me is not really so much a political conversation as much as I want to paint a transition as to how things have changed.
Yes. I tend not to look at it as a political
Right.
way either. I tend to look at it like how people really change, and maybe regardless of how the politics went.
The politics, I'm sure, affects it. But
yes, it was going to be affected, influences coming in. Even the way we speak, you look on TV and you say pro this, pro that, cheating, anti-cheating. A lot of that is American language,
right.
because there are a lot of people out in country Jamaica when me growing up, where a man have 2-3 family and them don't see it as cheating. Because wife
this
no
is the way of
girlfriend
life where everybody know,
and
right?
girlfriend no wife, and is a natural surrogate. It's not like the sort of argument.
So
the debating now about paying to be surrogate.
So a lot of what we're doing right now is formalizing things that already existed a long time ago. Were you one of those people from the country that had a fear of Kingston, or you never had this town country fear? A lot of country people afraid to come to town.
I didn't have that fear because it's such a long time ago, but then I started just merging, because I didn't just come to live in Kingston. I came too near to Kingston, so I was in Spanish Town boarding at school agriculture and used to come to Kingston like weekend for different reasons, until when I finished that I came to work in Kingston. And when I started working up at Ministry of Agriculture, living right down beside Sabina Park down in Almond Town, I used to walk, especially the first month, all the way down behind Stadium Stanton Terrace, down on a road to my house in the evening.
It's a long walk.
It's a long walk, but coming from country, that is a normal walk.
How many miles do you think that would be?
You can measure, maybe about 3 or 4.
Right, not too bad.
Because what you do, you don't follow the regular route.
You walk some side road and some...
When I leave up at Ministry of Agriculture, come across Mona, which was fairly new, and then come down on Monroe Road. And just before you came out in front of Police Officers Club, there was a Ford. So I had to go down in the Ford and come up. Nobody knows now that there's a Ford. Because when you turn on that road, if you're going the other way, and you turn right, you go Beverly Hills. But all that didn't have a bridge. It was a deep...
So you climb down it and come back
down,
out.
And if water is there, your shoes got wet, or it was difficult. Then when you turn left now, when you get to Stanton Terrace, you go down to to stadium.
Yeah.
You go out to Wind Drive, past camp, and go down Arnold Road. I mean, by country mile, wasn't
That is
far
nothing, eh?
until I start drive. Then it was less taxing buy my old car and start drive.
This is not so much about how the country changed, but how would you say life in Jamaica changed for you when you were able to afford more, like buy a car versus riding a bicycle versus walking?
Change a lot in terms of what you say now.
In terms of what you can do, right?
If what you can do. But having traveled the world and go a lot of places, I don't think anything is that wrong in how I grew up riding bicycle and all that. And put it another way, if looking back, many of our people in Jamaica, if we had good, decent bicycle lane and infrastructure,
Right, you'd still be riding.
would do better riding, remain healthier than taking a lot of car. But you can't take the risk or ride anywhere these days, you know.
Between robbery, getting hit down by a taxi or other drivers,
Or other drivers, yes.
or otherwise. We just don't have proper lanes and these things.
As you know, I have 2 bicycles here, one hung up in my garage and one on the outside. And I used to ride until recently. And I used to ride all my life. Or people from Westmoreland always ride.
Yeah, Westmoreland is a big riding parish. Bicycle and bike.
Bicycle, bike.
And if you go down there now,
donkey
you will probably count 10 bikes will pass you in 20 minutes.
Yes.
Alright, but now, alright, so you're 76 now, you're going to be 77 this year. So you have seen Jamaica through many phases. How would you compare now to back then? I mean, now we have highways, quote unquote highways, we have cell phones, we have data plans, we have so many things that were not in existence in your childhood.
It's like cheese to chalk. Certain things is not Jamaican only. So all the data plan on the cell phone, that's international.
That's international, right?
You know, but if we follow the development to do with the times, we have really come a far way. Because even things like education, I mean, the number of persons now that go into secondary and tertiary education. When I was a little boy, education was being able to read and write.
Right,
you know?
right.
And me, for example, I never got to a formal high school. I did first, second, third Jamaica local, went to vocational school, and you know I can do everything around the house.
Right.
Woodwork, everything.
He can build picket fences, he can fix vehicles.
And from vocational school, which I really didn't regret. I think everybody should. And
what you did in vocational school?
Woodwork, metalwork, integrated science, agriculture, both animal husbandry, and agronomy, mean plants, crops and so on. And then from there, I went on to School of Agriculture. Then worked for about 6 years before I picked up myself and went to university. I mean, that was on my own steam.
You started, medicine you said was somebody told you about a scholarship that was available?
No, it wasn't that. I was doing natural science because I wanted to do chemistry, because I wanted to get involved in plastics. Because by that time,
plastics were new.
Things have changed. Plastic was new, and we used to have tin, everything in either tin or cardboard or paper bag. And so I thought that doing chemical engineering
would be a good foundation for getting into plastics.
To get into a manufacturer of plastics, like how we had thermoplastics. But while doing chemistry, just to cut a long story short, somebody was doing chemistry with me, had some pink forms. I asked him what the pink form was for, so he's applying to do medicine. And I used to get a better mark than him, so I figured that I took a set of the forms from him, filled them out. And as I said, the rest is history.
Right, you got into medicine and then...
and even when after graduating, because I was older than the average student, I didn't plan to specialize. Still, I don't go in back and specialize.
Right.
So I just follow my path, just like as each day come along, which is not maybe the best thing that you would tell a young person these days. But at the same time,
really what you need to do.
At the same time, I believe our education system is really rotten in a sense, in that from you get into basic school or prep school,
Any
you are
kind of-
being taught to pass the next exam.
Right.
So you're being taught to pass GSAT, to pass CXC,
Cape,
to pass
C6
CAPE.
now.
And then what surprised me when I went to university, I think that people were going to have a lot of their own opinion. So people come and teach and people sit down and write notes, and the people who can reproduce the notes
They'll
are
do
thought
well.
of to be right, but when they come to do things,
They can't
you
figure
find
out
out they
anything.
can't figure out anything.
Applied
So
knowledge.
I think, unfortunately, I don't know what to replace it with. Maybe we should do what I saw in Finland, where children just go to school and play and enjoy themselves.
And then they'll figure out life after.
Up to a certain stage,
Right,
you know.
right. All right. So one day, actually, I want us to do an episode on how we parallel our lives, because you did agriculture, moved to medicine. I did medicine and did music, and it's funny how a lot of people battle with what to choose and how to journey. But life is free flow. But
I'm a great believer, you know that, in that if you do what you love, you'll always be successful.
you'll be happy too.
The key thing is that you're happy with what you do.
All right, so let us come back to, I guess, Jamaica now, and your perception of it. I have an interesting question to ask you. Would you say that, how does aging affect your appreciation of the changes that happen? And by that I mean, when you're younger, you have more energy and ability to do certain things. Maybe the same things would appeal to you, but as you're older, your desire might be less because of the...
Less energy and everything.
Exactly. What is that like in the mind? How does that play out?
Yeah, in the mind, it is strange, you know. The mind doesn't necessarily synchronize with the body. In that you always believe that you're young until you try to run the stairs up.
Right.
And you find out that it is not as easy as it was before.
Right.
And so you might always concerned about people who get demented and get Alzheimer and all that. When you imagine everything just disappear out of your mind, you don't even know the closest people to you.
Right.
And the bottom line is that you're not suffering. It is a caregiver notice it and suffering.
And they feel bad when you
And
can't
they
call
feel
their
bad,
name. But
exactly.
you're just living
But you just phasing out gradually. And so back to your question, I am happy that I can still appreciate the changes. And if we want to summarize that, I think Jamaica have come a long way in that we have kept abreast with all the modern development, and because of that, we have people who have great expectation. And so many places I've been to, I've been to Africa, South America, everywhere, and so what people are satisfied with. Jamaican people not used to that. Jamaican people, regardless
always
of,
want more.
Yes, regardless of your state, meaning
And status in life.
whether you are a very poor person,
Mm-hmm.
or you're a person who can afford, or whether you're a very rich person, you still always want a certain level of things. And I don't have no problem with that. We want good education, good health service,
Good technology.
Good technology.
I always pride us as Jamaicans in being
I think
aware.
we have done well.
I think the country has done well. I pride us on awareness. I remember growing up and seeing Azzy, your brother, non-blood brother.
Yes.
Listening to country and western, and I just remember growing up listening to Kenny Rogers, and nobody would think that in the land of reggae and that country and western was a big part of
big deal
of like childhood, just like I guess the rock and roll and the blues and the and I find that interesting.
And not only that, a Jamaican countryman, and it wasn't reggae and thing, it was his music.
No.
It was country and western.
And that has pervaded throughout my life. I find that I will hear something like Nirvana or some kind of rock, and there's some Jamaican who is listening to it. It's very interesting. Is there anything that you'd want to see happen moving forward? I mean, I agree we've done well. How much, where you want to see us going? Or you think we're on the right path?
I would say that I'm not so much of a pessimist, I would say that what I am happy with, in that a lot of young people are educating themselves. And educating, as I just said before, don't mean getting a lot of subjects and getting a lot of degree. You walk by the transport center, which I like to do one afternoon, and you see the amount of young ladies with book, they're going and do things at heart and all sort of stuff. right? You hardly see a lot of the guys. So I would like to see the guys follow. When I went to university, UA, we didn't have like more than 3,000. Now a year like 30,000. And when you look at it, it's most about 70% women. Back in my day, it was nearly all guys.
Yeah.
And not that women weren't there, because we have always had good equity between genders. However, it has changed significantly since then, especially things like even medicine.
Yeah.
In my class, we had less than 100 graduates.
And it was mainly men then.
Like,
and now you have so many more females for sure.
I mean, if it was 80 guys in the class, now it's about
It's the
80
other way around.
women.
Right.
And you hardly have the guys. No, maybe the guys don't want to do. I remember going to China and nearly all the doctors were female.
Yeah.
And I asked a consultant and he said that the guy are better off driving taxis.
Well, I'll add on to what you say. I think education is great, but in my time here, it's been good to see. There's some things that aren't so good, like the violence and maybe the decline of the dollar. But the flip side is, I remember the entry of the internet, how we've kept up with technology. The roads have improved and continue to improve overall. And just Jamaica as an entertainment mecca, and just kind of remaining on the pulse, for such a small island,
Yes.
to kind of have such top class musicians, athletes within poor structure.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of the areas that the people that the talent falls in is poorly structured, yet they're still able to cross boundaries.
Well,
It's impressive, and that's always been the case.
Yeah, that's what I was saying a little earlier.
Yeah.
That given what we have done well, and we can still do better.
We can do better.
And having gone to many places, last count is over 40 countries, all continents, I think I'm in a good position to compare. I've been to India, and I'm not impressed with what you see.
Right.
I've been to Africa, different countries, because you can't just go to Africa. It's 53 countries, but I've been a couple
And
times.
of course, all countries produce scholars and wonderful and brilliant people. But
And, you hardly can go anywhere and say you're from Jamaica and people don't know something about Jamaica. I remember Wayne and I were in Japan, and Wayne asked a guy where Jamaica was, and he said in Africa.
Yeah,
that was the only time I've had that.
Happened to me in Boston too. Somebody asked me, "Is Jamaica in Africa?"
Yes.
All right, to wrap up, I'm going to give you a little quiz. My question for you is, given that you've traveled to maybe 40 countries, over 40 countries, and you're a Jamaican, I figure what would be your top 3 or top 5 countries based on the ones you've traveled to in just terms of overall feel?
New Zealand, Norway, Ireland.
New Zealand, Norway, Ireland. Jamaica make your... Alright, this is travel too. Jamaica would be in your top 5 if it was just countries you love?
I would think that because of things like behavior and violence, they wouldn't be in the top 5 at all.
Why were those...
But because this is home.
Right.
It is obviously number 1.
Why are those 3 in your top 3, by the way?
Because...
You said New Zealand first. What's about New Zealand?
If you go to New Zealand, you make grill to put around your gate and your property, you would starve. There is nothing like that, right?
Nobody's
People
coming
are coming
to rob
in
you.
to break your house. People ride bicycle, go to work and ride home, and you have just about everywhere you can go, and you can just catch a camper and rent it and drive and plug in on a campsite.
Safe and civilized, eh?
Safe and civilized.
What about Norway?
And so Norway the same, except it is cold, right? So I have fortunately been in Norway in July, so I would know about.
That's the summer, eh?
That's the summer, and even at 12 midnight, it is still twilight. So it's like, but the nice thing, the discipline and everything, right?
And then what was the last one you said? Finland?
Ireland.
Oh, no, it was Ireland, right?
Not Northern Ireland, the Republic of Ireland.
Yeah.
And the people, they remind me of here.
Them kind of have a certain sense of humor, actually. They have an energy.
Drink a whole heap of Guinness.
And easy
have a whole
about
heap
life.
of fun.
Yeah.
Have a heap of music. Do a lot of river dance.
Right.
And
They're enjoying life.
And enjoying life.
Right.
And then when you leave from Dublin, you take the train to go on a tour out. If you go into Cork and South,
Yeah.
right? It is just pretty, beautiful, sheep, farm, all sort of things. You stop at some place that is all poetry there. In Dublin, Guinness store is a big deal. As a part of Dublin, you drive around and you could get drunk off the smell of Guinness.
Off of barley.
Yes. and they want to charge you an arm and like $1,000 a night to go into Bona Hotel.
Well, I think that's a good way for us to. I think that's a good way for us to wrap, because I think in identifying the things you like about those countries, those are probably the things that would make Jamaica perfect. But no country is perfect, you know.
Yeah,
if we could capture the discipline and the well, no, we have the spirit, but the discipline particularly, and the peaceful nature
yes.
of how they live. So to that, I'll say happy 57 years of independence, Jamaica. It is. We are proud Jamaicans here, and you got a history lesson there from someone who has traversed from country to town, from
pre-independence
to post-independence. So definitely a good person. All right, Dad. Thank you again for being on Talk Truth.
You're welcome.
I hope you enjoyed that episode of Talk Truth. Definitely one of my most favorite people to talk to. And as you all know, somebody I admire tremendously. He is 76 years old and he has an impeccable memory and attention to detail when it comes on to every single thing that has happened in his life. So I'm really glad that I am able to capture some of this in recording, and that you are able to hear some of the journeys of a countryman come to town. All right, so right now what we're going to do is what you want to know, which is the response to the most exciting truth bomb question so far, which would be, have you ever had sex in a public place? And if so, where? And I'm going to run through these quick. They're all anonymous, but some of them almost kill me dead. It's the most responses I've ever gotten to a truth bomb question. Let's kick it off. Riverbanking. Wow. Abandoned building in halfway tree. Okay. Yup, in a bus at a beach, and in the bus was at ATI on the bed while a friend slept, and that was beach duvet. Wow, you're wild. Yes, in a pool and in a cow patch. Okay. In a library. Nerdy, freaky. A club, a park, a pool, and the beach. Yeah, y'all wilding. All the car parks that come to mind. In the car park, outside hangar. What you say to me? Not as yet. Oh, that's good. Somebody's not having sex publicly. God bless your soul. Got all of you are slackers. Against a car in the car park of a hotel. Interesting. Sounds exciting. Yes, I've had sex in a public place. I've done it in a car park and in the bushes. Mine get coach, mine get ticks bite you. You know those questions whose answers won't end well. Eat this. All right. So clearly you know what answer, eh? That's fine. I understand. I wouldn't want to answer either. Lime Key, Port Royal Beach, Norman Manley International Airport parking lot and bathroom. And that lighthouse. Where you say over Port Royal and Norman Manley you stay? Where these things? Hewitt Chapel Gardens. I figured a lot of things probably happened there. Megamart parking lot 5 years ago in broad daylight. Where you say to me? Mona Dam. A bathroom near the Undercroft at Huey. A bus stop on Mountain View Avenue late at night. In a car parked in front of my neighbor's house. Got a handy on a JUTC bus once, Lord God. The Queen's Park Savannah. We have people outside of the island. Thank you, Trinidad. Yes, school, car. The hills are alive. Red Hills. Probably out at the lookout point, I bet. Airport. The side of the road in Port Royal. Port Royal strikes again. Here's another one. It says... Yes, it's a rite of passage to have public sex. In a car on Palisados. That's the only one I can share without follow-up. Wow. I'm letting you know that I actually know the people who are sending these in, which makes it even more funny for me. But we will be protecting them on Talk Truth. I'm going to just say yes, and it's been 3 places. Nah, so weird. Oh dear, too many places to name. On an open beach with a girlfriend. It was steamy. Wow, we knew have one show we just talk about sex, public sex. Cause we don't have only a response. We have guests for days. My high school playfield post graduation. Wow. You see me still read them? Don't judge me. The roof, a garden on a rock. Must be a big rock. And an untinted car. Palisados strikes again. Let's see. Yes, sure I have. On an off-road heading to the airport. Oh, by the way, we were caught by the police. Whoa. Yes, I have. There are too many. Bus terminal by a canal. Car on a beach. The poor car them. Here comes just two more guys. On the beach at half moon and on a construction site under the full moon. Nice. I like that little moon play. That's moon play. And never done it anywhere. Not in the wrong year. Virginity is not a bad thing. We're glad I have one virgin out of all on the heating. Yeah, all right. So that's it for Truth Bombs for this week. And we're going to take a 1 week break from Truth Bombs. I will return with it. And that's just because I'm going to, we just need to take a break. I'll explain it to you at another time. But you just bear with me for not having a Truth Bomb next week. And as usual, thank you for listening to Talk Truth. Talk Truth! Follow up on Twitter at Talk Truth JA and follow me on Instagram at Mario Evon. That's MarioEvon. And you can go to the website talktruthja.com or go to marioevon.com and hit the podcast tab. Please subscribe to us on a podcasting app because that's really super cool to do anyway. And listen, rate, review, subscribe to our podcast on whichever app you're listening to, or go over to Apple Podcasts and please leave a review over there. They're very important. We want more reviews, all right? Apart from that, me love in a long time. Me love you long time. See you next week on Talk Truth on next Sunday. Talk Truth. This is your boy Mario Evon. Blessed love. Goodbye.